Hello, 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 and hello again. It is nice to see you here. I can see that you are here to listen to what we have for you today. Thank you very much for always finding time out of no time to be here with us. We've got a lovely guest with us today. I'm sure you are itching and waiting to see what she's going to be giving to us today, and she has found time to come here. We really appreciate her presence, and she's super busy. I can't even qualify how super busy she is, but she has said no, I will be here, and she has stood by her words, so we are grateful. And before we go into the program, before I introduce to you our special guest for today, I will be asking you to remember to remind somebody that we are live. We are live. Remind somebody we are live. We are here for you. Click on the comment button, write your questions. Let her answer questions that you have burning in your heart. Like, share, subscribe, do whatever it is you have to do with this video. And let us go ahead with what we have for today. So, without wasting time at all, I invite on the screen. I call her the love advocate, the boss and host of Lasting Love. I'm sure you must have seen her on TV. You must have watched the programs and all of that. It's time for us to hear directly, like the English will say, from the horse's mouth. So I invite on the screen now Mrs. Funmi Adeyi. You are welcome.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. It's such a privilege. I'm not taking this lightly. I am grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming here. For those who are online, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming. Just please invite somebody, remind somebody, and let us make this a fruitful time together. Now, everyone will be thinking, for people who have not seen you, or maybe they've seen you in a flash and be like, oh, I've seen this lady before, and they're trying to find out who you really are. Could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Bobby, once again, and thank you for doing this. Well, like you know, my name is Funmi Adeyi, simple for short. So, my name is Funmi Adeyi, and I'm the CEO of Lasting Love International. And Lesson Love International is a platform where we discuss issues relating to relationships. So it's not restricted to couples alone. So for every single or mature individual, anyone interested in relationship or whatsoever, it's a platform where we talk about it, we say it as it is, we get empowerment, we're enlightened, we're educated, we ask questions. If we do not have answers there, then we will be able to get answers from outside. So, in a nutshell, Lasting Love is a platform where we educate ourselves, enlighten ourselves, and we receive insight into issues relating to relationships.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for that. His trophy of grace is online. Thank you, showering love. Thank you very much for showering that love on us and on the guests today. Thank you very much. Okay, so you've introduced yourself. Thank you very much for um telling us who you are. And his trophy of grace says Mrs. Abimsola Oluade. Thank you very much for coming, joining us. Second question is, could you enlighten us on what the Lasting Love TV program is about? I know you've said it in a nutshell, but what is it about? How does it benefit singles, married, and non-married?
Right. So I'm going to tell you how it actually originated. Some years back, I was the woman in charge of the women's ministry, my local church then, and that was many years ago because I was newly married. I was in my late 20s, early 30s, so I was still a young married woman then, and we had a lot of us that were of the same at the same stage of our lives then, and during some of our sessions then we had questions we're dealing with. We had different scenarios in our lives. We had different circumstances in our lives, and we just wanted to talk about it. And as I gave answers, as I enlightened, as we talked about it, I thought that it would be beneficial to actually have something bigger than this platform. And so the idea came. And so from one step to the other, I decided to let's see how it will be. Because I was in broadcasting way back in Nigeria, but I didn't have a show to myself. And so that was how it started. And I thought to myself, let's give it a thought, let's try. And on Lasting Love, what we do is that we talk about different issues relating to different marriages. So what I do is that I bring husband and wife together who have been married for several years. We talk about a particular challenge that they've been through, and we talk about how they sailed through them. One of the very unique things about Lasting Love is that we keep it real. We talk about realness. We make people talk about their personal experience. That, I mean, the one that they can share, the one that they're free to talk about. We talk about it there, and then they tell us the strategies that they actually took to sail through those challenges. One thing I do not do is that when I approach a couple and they tell me, oh, they've been very happy for over 20 years, no challenge, I don't go near you. You're not the kind of couple I'm looking for. I am looking for people who have been through different challenges and they have sailed through them and they're still standing together. So what we do on Lasting Love is that we enlighten ourselves, we educate ourselves, we look for avenues to answer many burning questions in our heart. And the truth about it is that I have people out there that can relate to the show, to the topic, to the instances, to the circumstances, to the situations. We have people who can relate with them, and they're like, you know what? The truth is, by the following day, the amount of emails that I'm bombarded with is unbelievable. I had to hire somebody to actually look into the emails for me. So the truth is, on that show, we talk about real life stuff. And that's exactly what we do. You're
Yeah,
muted.
yeah, I saw I wasn't he said that. Thank you very much. Wow, that is so fascinating to hear. I like where you said if you say, oh, you've been married for some years and you haven't got any issues, I would just stay clear away from
Then
you.
no, no.
That is, yeah, thank you. That
Mhm.
because there are challenges everywhere. It might be one's kettle of fish might be different from another person's kettle of fish, and sharing, coming together, collaborating to give those experiences helps other people, because it might not even be needed now. It might be years
True.
later. You just, oh, I actually listened to a sister who said this about hers and this was what she did, and you apply that and it works for you. So thank you
Mm,
very much for being real. Thank you very
mm,
much. It takes me to my next question that says, how has the program, which of course you said it, how has the program added value to our world with amazing, if you could give amazing examples for people to know so
mm,
that they can start looking out for Lasting Love TV and
mm,
connecting so that we all can learn, because it's all
mm.
about learning every day. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that question. Now, by the grace of God, I've had the opportunity of hosting the television show in several countries. I filmed in the US, I filmed in Canada. And one of the very crucial points that I've realized is that people have been able to relate, like I said. Now, one of the instances I want to present here was when I was filming way back in 2013 in Atlanta. I was amazed. I did not think that in this day and age, I would have young couples who would be chaste and would not go into fornication before they're married. I didn't think it would exist. Honestly, that's the truth. I didn't think we still have, or we still had people who would not go into sexual sin before marriage. I thought we had come to the end of it, especially in the United States. But I was super impressed. I spoke to a few couples and young couples who were newly married then. And one vital thing they actually mentioned was the fact that they reported back to their pastors, their man of God was their mentor. So during the course of courtship, they were not left alone. Okay, they were walking together and working together with their man of God. So the man of God was guiding them, was guarding them. It was actually mentoring them, so to say. So there was no space for them, not because the urges would not come. The urges came, the thought came. One of them, if I could pick on some of those videos and repost them, it would actually be nice. One of them said to me that each time they met together for a drink or maybe to eat out, and they were just loving up, they would remember that they had a meeting with their pastor and they were going to have a talk, and their pastor would be so disappointed to hear that they actually committed sin, so they stayed away from it. It wasn't very easy. You know what, the flesh, the spirit, the Bible said the spirit of God is willing, but the flesh is weak. The flesh is really weak. They want to, but the realization, the remembrance, the thought that, if you do that thing, okay, the consequences will be really hard on you. So this is one of the things that I learned, that people learn, and it was actually beneficial for younger people coming up. And they were like, really, if these American girls, American young couples, I mean, they're not even couples, they were not married then. They're just dating, they were courting. If they can actually do this, why not? So it encouraged a lot more people, at least people within my own jurisdictions, to actually give it a thought, to give it a try. That while we're caught up, we don't have to do it. The urges will come, the flesh would demand for it. But you know what? We can actually stay on top of this. Another thing that I would say impacted people from this show was one of them that I interviewed, and they had waited for the fruit of the womb for 20 years, and they actually described their stories and the steps they took, and the disappointments, their failures, the number of IVFs and the disappointment, and it was very devastating. But at the end of the day, they had a child, and they led us through how they eventually had a child. And people wrote and wanted to use them as a point of contact. People wrote, they wanted to meet up with them and speak to them. They wanted to use the God that helped them through the situation as a point of contact, and it was helpful. It was it built up their faith. It encouraged them. It made them know that the God who did it for these people is still alive, and it can do it for them. So these are some of the instances that we've had on the show that has been of tremendous help, tremendous encouragement for other people.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving us such, real examples. Thank you. His Trophy of Grace says, lasting love programs keep it real. Yes, thank you very much. I've watched a few, and I remember when years ago when I just started, I just came across it on TV. I was like, I know this person. So she's a particular girl too. Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
particular girls are rising. Thank you very much
Mhm,
for making impact.
mhm,
Thank you, thank you. And she also says a couple that had divorced and remarried. Yeah,
true,
she said,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, because these are things we need to hear now. This is a word for the season. The next
Mm,
question actually is, what is your heartfelt advice to younger singles planning to get married, because you've been through it all, and the like you said, the initiative came when you got married, and there were so many things you were exposed to, issues you needed to trash out. Of course, nobody has been this road before. We're all learning as we go along, even with children, with so many things coming up. So and you decided, okay, if I had known this years ago, this is how I would have done it. So what is your heartfelt advice to younger singles planning to get married?
Okay, number one, thank you, Bumi, for that question. Number one thing, before they even get to the point of getting married, my number one thing to young people that I'm opportune to speak to is
Mm,
to ask them how convinced they are about the fellow they're getting married to.
mm,
To the best of my knowledge, in this day and age, what I have realized is that there are a lot of pressures on young people. Every mother wants a grandchild. So there are a lot of pressure. You need to get married. Or Kunle is getting married. She's married with children. What are you doing? You went to school together. So there are a lot of pressures on young people. And so there's a high tendency of young people to actually want, let me just please my parent. Let me just do this and get away with it.
mm,
So, but you see, at the end of the day, it will be you and that fellow remain. Everyone will go to their different homes. It will be you. But how happy are you? In a relationship, you have to be happy. In a relation, I tell my daughters that in a relationship, when you're dating or when you're in courtship, you have to experience some different seasons. There will be a time where you would have disagreement and see the other person. Let's see how he's reacting. There is a time where you'll be very excited and happy. You need to see the reactions. When he's overly happy and excited, does he overspend? Does he empty his account at that time due to excitement? When he's absolutely devastated, what happens as well? There are different stages that you have to experience in courtship. But apart from that, how convinced are you that this is the right person for you? Is it because of the engagement? You know, the engagement is super, super now with clothing, colorful, the bridegrooms, I mean, the groommen, they dancing with all sort of dancing styles. And the ladies as well, it's so beautiful, it's so fascinating. But there is more to that. There is more to it. The person you is it somebody you would love to spend the rest of your life with? When you're having a disagreement, is somebody even in the middle of that disagreement? Is it somebody you want to look up in the face and say, you know what? Regardless of this disagreement, honestly, I still love him. I love it. Honestly, even though I'm Jao, I love it. Are you
I love it,
sure you are
Connie.
able to say exactly? Are you sure you are able to say that, or you at that time you are like, on you're filled with the regret that what am I thinking of? What did I do to myself? Oh my, is it that? So you need to be sure, you need to be convinced that you are actually in the right, you're making the right decision with that person. And so for young people, when you pass that age, a lot of other things should actually be actually laid bare on the table. Issue of finance, the job, profession. There's no hiding about those things. These are plain truth because life throws different things at you, challenges that you did not budgeted for, you did not plan for. It shakes to the root. So if you're not solid with your relationship, it will just shake you off. So these are some of the things that have to be discussed. Some of the
Yeah.
A lot of Christians don't talk about what's it, genotypes. We over pray. We pray over it. Nah, 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 nah. The Lord. I know people who have done it. Faith. There is a place of faith. And you see, God is a God of mercy. He chooses. The Bible says, "I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy." When He wants to show mercy, He will show mercy. But wisdom is required at certain levels. So in the area of genotype has to be checked when it comes to marry. Don't be stupid or blindfolded with love. I've seen relationships that they're both AS and they unfortunately had SS children, and the man left the home because he was overwhelmed. He was a nice man. He loved his wife, but he could not cope. So these are some of the things that has to be discussed: genotypes, finance, jobs, children. Can you believe it that somebody was telling me that when they met, she and her husband, the discussion was that the husband said he doesn't want children, and they're Africans, they're Yoruba people. Can you believe that? Is it something you want to go ahead with? So these are some of the things that has to be laid bare. I couldn't believe it. I said, so did you agree? She said, oh well, I loved him so much. I agreed to it. I'm like, you agreed to it, but along the line, the marriage could not be sustained because they disagreed eventually. The lady wanted, the guy didn't want it. Of course, they had to go separate ways. So these are some of the things that has to be discussed before going into relationships.
Wow, thank you, thank you. The era of love is blind. Well, sometimes love is still blind, but then when it's blind, just try to open it a little and just try to see and keep, you know.
My case,
Thank
love
you.
is not blind. Honestly, it's not blind.
It's not
It's
blind.
God's
Okay.
grace.
I thought I didn't want to cause a controversial
Yeah,
statement. That's why I
it's
thought,
not
okay,
blind.
if you say
It's
love is
blind.
blind, at least try to
Yeah.
open it a bit so that so well,
Mm,
yeah.
mm,
Wow. Okay, thank you very much. And so that's for singles who are planning to get married. How about the
mm,
older singles looking for a life partner? They have searched and done everything possible, visited all prayer houses available and tried different things and still, not
mm,
coming. And then they begin to wonder, maybe I'm actually supposed to be a nun. Maybe I'm even not supposed to
mm.
get married. What is your advice for them? Because there are people watching who are facing this and want to know.
Yeah, so for that situation, there are two different categories that I would actually see it from. Some are the singles that never been married. Some are the
Mm,
mature singles that actually attempted marriage before, unfortunately did not work, but they're still looking for love. So, but in all this, they are both mature people. And what I
mm,
usually for the from the background that we came from, the typical African strict Christian background, we had a lot of restrictions. But
mm,
with awareness and with modernization, we know a little more now.
mm,
So one of the things that I would actually say, number one thing is not to stop praying. I believe in what we call the divine order. I believe that God direct steps. I believe that there is a certain time for everybody. I believe that God ordains individuals' path in his own time. I believe it. I believe that when you run ahead of your own time, you will probably make a mistake and you have to go back to the queue. I believe
mm,
very much in that. That sometimes when you run, when you're not supposed to run, when you do um, when you just run ahead of your time and you
yeah,
face a problem, it takes you back to square one. So you have to queue again. But in
mm,
all this, we know better. There are some things that we have to put in place. Now, I always tell the people that are close to me that I know are in that situation
yeah,
to always before, like I said, I was against the dating website because when we were the stories we were told in the past were not very encouraging. So a lot of people we dissuaded them from going ahead with that. But now we know better. At least I know a few examples who actually registered on dating websites
mm,
and they actually found love and their marriage is working. I know people who found love on Facebook. There's some dating website I'm trying to remember. Is it Tango or something? I can't remember. They've told me their personal stories, and surprisingly, it's working. One of my friends, a mature single with 3 kids, when she told me she registered on that particular website, I said to her, "You better don't waste your time. The people on that website, they are fake people. They are not real people. They will just deceive you, take your money." I told her that. But anyway, thankfully she went ahead with her head, with her senses in place. And but today she met this guy. They've been dating for, I mean, they've been together for nearly over 6 years now, nearly 10 years now. And
mm,
the guy had children from his past. She has children from her past, and they've all come together as one big family. They get to their house now, they have a big family photo, and they met on one of the social media. So it works. And she's not the only one. There are others that are actually in that situation that found love. So
mm,
dating website is one forum platform that I encourage young people to actually go on, to register on, and give it a try. But when you go on there, you go there with your senses. You're not stupid. A lot of people, a lot of women are easily lured away. A lot of women are easily deceived. A
mm,
lot of women are, and they just take them for granted and they're swept away. But there are a lot of falsehood. So when you go in there, you go in with your senses working there. You do not want to be deceived. So yes, dating website is one that I encourage people to register on and to be part of. And of course, in the place of prayer, that is also there, I mentioned earlier. And also because I'm talking from the point of view as a Christian, I also encourage people to participate in activities, church activities, singles activities, meet up, um, attend fellowships, anywhere where you would meet with other people. It is not meeting people, a spouse is not restricted to church. And you know what? The truth about it is that we have a lot of wolves out there who actually come to the church now as
mm,
sheep. They think they know that they will find a good girl, beautiful, young, well trained, well mannered girl in the church. So they would come to the church, but they themselves are not what you expect them to be. So church is not the best, it's not the only place. There are other people. I didn't meet my husband in church. We met at school. And it was a casual place. We just met somewhere. I know somebody who met us, our husband, on the bus in K2. They usually take the same bus to maybe to Oshodi or something. They met together and they became friends. I know somebody who gave a girl a lift at a bus stop. and today they're married. So we're not restricted to one particular place to always meet your spouse. So
Mm,
in the when a person is looking or believing God for a spouse, um put God in the place number one. Ultimately, the Bible says the steps of the righteous are ordered of God. Let your steps be ordered, but make yourself available. Hang out, meet up, register on dating website, all those things, they all add up. Watch movie, go to the cinema, you know things like that. Just make yourself happy along the
mm.
line. You will meet somebody.
Wow. Wow, you said some. I'm sure some people have heard you, and even when you mentioned it, usually I'm like dating sites. Oh no, no, no. But
Mhm.
we all have a. I guess when you're in the shoes of someone else, you know what it feels like. So I wouldn't want to ride on my moral high horse and say, "Oh,
Mhm.
this is the way to go. This is not the way to go." But
Mhm.
like you said, put your head into it whilst you're doing that. Like we said, love is not blind anymore. Open your eyes, koro koro, and see
Mhm.
with it. So yes, it will work for some people and might not work for some people. Like you've just said, there's caution in everything, even when you meet that guy on the bus. So we know that love can be found in strange places. And thank
True.
you very much for highlighting those examples. And that takes me back to the comment of his trophy of grace says lasting love programs keep it real. So we're seeing the reality of it now. She won't tell you just go and pray. Oh, just pray, fast for 40 days and it will come. You will see the vision. She's not
Mhm.
saying that. She's Of course there's a place for that.
Mhm. Oh dear. Mhm. I think it's a network. I think it's network issues. If everyone can still hear me, um um
You're welcome back. This is where I say the devil is a liar.
I thought, was it me who left or was it you?
Was me. Imagine it was me. The
Oh,
website,
bless you.
the internet just decided to cough a bit.
I
All
know.
right.
I saw that.
Thank
That's
you.
all right.
Thank you
You're
very
back
much for
anyway.
that. So yes, like I said, his trophy of grace, I said this is where you keep it real. So thank you for all of those highlights. Thank you for those who have joined us online, who are um writing comments. Thank you very much, his trophy of grace. Yes, she says, or he or she says, yes, oh, shine your eyes well, well. Shine your eyes well, well. Thank you. I think it's a she because I remember you said your
Yeah,
name.
she.
Yes, you said your name. I just didn't want to. Yes. Yeah, thank you very much. I can't find that. Yeah. So yeah, she says, yes, shine your eyes well, well. As in, yes, we can. Yes, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you to those who are online, who are here with us, watching and listening. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always joining. Thank you for always sharing um sharing your views. Now, I don't know. Were you saying something? I don't know where we. Yeah. Okay. There's someone here again. Destiny O says, "Greetings, host and everyone. Thank you very much for coming, for joining us here today. Thank you very much." Um. We were talking about advice to older singles looking for a life partner, and you mentioned some points. Have you ever had a kickback from people about dating website? I know you gave an example of where, like we said, love can be found in strange places. Have you had any kickback um, when you mentioned this in public? That, oh, go on a dating website, and what were the reactions the people gave you?
Oh, well, the reaction they gave me, some gave me, were the same reactions I gave at the beginning. You know, at the time of my life, I was vehemently against it, like I said, because I thought to myself that the dating website was a platform where fake people hid. It was a platform where you met people that were very unreal, people that were false, fake, artificial. So when people come back to me that, oh yeah, no, we can't do that, I'm like, look, I've been through that. But the truth about it is that a lot of people have opened their eyes and their hearts to it in this day and age. And believe you me, a lot of people are actually registered on dating website. They might
Wow.
not have found people yet, but when I say to people that, oh yeah, I'm registered, I'm on it. Oh well, I met somebody, but so a lot of people, the awareness is all out there now, so they've given it a try. And thankfully, recently I was told about one of Daddy Gio's son, Lake Adeboye, who actually started a Christian dating website. So, which
Hmm.
is good. So it was one of my plans way back then, but I was just a bit skeptical about it. I didn't receive the complete leading, so I thought I would just let it stay for now. So yes, so a lot of people are looking in that direction now. A lot of people, the awareness is right there. Christians are using the dating website as well. And yeah, I think it's part of our lives in this day and age, I would say. Part of our
Yeah.
lives.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I've got a question from Peter AIG. Egg. I would bring your question up after this question, which says, what is your take on domestic violence and your advice to those currently stuck in that cycle? I don't know if it relates to this person's question that says, what will you advise a Christian woman or man to do when their spouse has been caught having affairs? So maybe we should go to the domestic violence first and
I think
then
so.
come back to this. So,
So,
over to
so
you.
the question on the domestic violence, what is my take on domestic violence? There is no plan B on domestic violence.
Hmm.
Domestic violence has no other alternative. If you find yourself either a woman, believe me or not, we have men recently that we've heard their stories also caught in the act or in the web of domestic violence. Now, the truth about it is that if you're caught in that web, you know what? There is, if you so love your life, please escape from that net. And that's the truth. If you find yourself in domestic violence, either verbal or non-verbal, it could be sexual, it could be financial, it could be emotional, it could be physical, it could be anything. From the part of the world where we come from, we did not recognize it as domestic violence. It was part of life. It was part of our ways of life. So we just lived with it. But now that we know better, if you are in any form of domestic violence, it is not a healthy place for you. A lot of men, a lot of women suffered it back home. So when they grew up into their adulthood life, they naturally, they don't have to learn it. It comes to them naturally to hit their wife only because they have seen it being done back home. I heard about a story of a couple, both here, medical doctors here. And after work, when they come back from work, all together, pick up the kid from after school, get back home. And the husband will sit down in the sitting room cross-legged and be watching TV, and the woman who is also a medical practitioner will be looking for ways to make dinner for the family, only for the husband to be shouting and screaming, what time will it be ready? I'm really starving. I've been at work, as though the wife didn't go to work. And it became the atmosphere became tensed up. They started disagreeing, arguing, and unfortunately they started moving into their separate ways and lives. That is a form of abuse. Even though it's not physical, it's emotional, it's verbal. Because as far as we're concerned, especially in this day and age, in this country, we've all been busy, we've gone to different jobs. We should be able to work together, even if it's just the man helping us, instead of sitting in the sitting room and expecting dinner to fly onto the table. That is a form of abuse. So if you find yourself in a form of abuse, if it's physical, it is more serious. If it's not physical, it is something that can still be talked about. But if at the moment you realize that the abuse is physical, run, because you can be killed. We have different situations and stories of people who have died needless death. If they knew better, they would have flown out of that situation. But if it is not physical, if it is emotional, if it is psychological, if it is financial, there are things, structure, strategies that can still be put into perspective to make it work. But if it's physical, please run for your dear life. I don't know if that question has been answered before we move into the other one.
Yeah, I hope so too. So for people who are still asking any questions, please write in the chats, write your comments. Thank you very much, Destiny. Oh, she says that is right. You said if it's still emotional and all of that and financial, you can still go for therapy and find a way around. But once it graduates into being physical, leave to leave. I always say leave, Leave to Live. So
True.
even if you have to pray about it, just leave first, because it's only a lot
Exactly.
someone who's alive who can pray about things. Go,
Absolutely.
just separate your ways. Go and pray seriously. Go on the mountain. Go everywhere, but just make sure you have left that place, because it's not healthy for the next
Mm.
step. Okay, thank you very much. And Destiny also says all abuse are pretty bad. They are definitely, yes. Thank you very much. So, we will now go to the person's question, Peter's question, who says, "What will you advise a Christian woman or man to do when their spouse has been caught having affairs?" I know it's a complex question and it varies from one person to the other, and you haven't got a full picture of that particular question he's asking, but on a general note, what would your advice be?
Okay, I'm just going to give an advice from some of the instances that we have dealt with. And the truth is that sometimes people do fall into sin for different reasons. If we have to start stating the reasons, it would differ from reasons of a woman who was not available for her husband, very busy with work, even though the work she was earning enough to feed the whole family and care for them. But there's an aspect of the need of a man being met that was not met. So unfortunately, the man was tempted and went outside and committed adultery and all that, started having an affair. So we also have an instance of a man who got tempted because his personal PA was
Hmm,
actually loving him, liked him, and wanted him at all costs, and unfortunately
hmm,
fell into the trap. So there are different scenarios, there are different factors responsible for each situation. So the truth about it is that each circumstance and each situation has to be dealt with. But because we're just generalizing at this minute, so let's just take it that it says, what advice will you give a Christian woman? Now, the truth about it is that number one thing is to call your spouse and have a chat. together. So the response from that discussion, from that talk, would actually take you to the next level. If the response or from that talk, from that discussion, was one that would cause more serious, devastating, or bring about devastating result, then you know that it cannot be handled within the four walls of your house. Then you need an expert or a separate individual to attend to it. Now, many people, especially from the Christian background, we believe that our pastor can deal with it. Many of our pastors are not trained as therapists. They're not. But because they are our pastor, they are our man of God, we just take it to them. If you pastor, they are not trained. Many of them don't have what it takes to be able to solve it or sort the situation out. So, but thankfully, in this day and age, we have therapists, we have counselors, we have people who are trained, we have people who are equipped with the resources that would actually help restore and resolve situations. So that will be the next level. But the truth is, most men, usually, in very many cases, if we have out of 10, I would say 7 out of 10 men usually do not like going for therapy. But it is the situation on hand that warrants it. Now, so what do? You need an external individual to come on board so that this there will be clarity in this. But you know what? Number one thing is, like I said, because I am a Christian, I'm talking from the point of view of a Christian woman. Number one thing is that the God factor should not be left out. Now, God has to be in this. For a family, for every relationship, there should be things that has to be put into perspective. It is good for husband and wife to be praying together. It is good for communication. Communication is very key. In the place of communication, a lot of things come out, and you will be able to deduce exactly what you're doing right and what is needs are and how you can meet it. So God in it would actually, the Bible says the heart of man, no, that's a scripture I want to pray that is not coming out, but it's talking about how God can deal with the heart of a man. That would work in the place of prayer. Okay, that will work in the place of prayer. So for a Christian woman whose spouse was caught in an affair, number one thing is to ask to talk with this man, please. But you know what, Bumi? The truth is, there's actually a situation that I heard about recently, and it started off as this. It was a PA, and the wife said something was happening. The husband would come home very, very late, and she would ask, why are you coming home? It's getting late, this and that. And the man will snap back. I'm busy. I'm working. I'm busy. And unfortunately, it went on and on. She went to speak with the pastors. The pastor could not sort it out. They want to speak with their mentor. They couldn't sort it out. And unfortunately, the guy eventually married the PA and sent the wife out of the house. The wife, they had 4 children between them, sent her out with all their children, 3 boys, 1 girl. You can imagine. And it deteriorated and deteriorated and deteriorated. In that situation, she has done all she could. The Bible says, having done all, stand. She's done all. It is not easy. We went through hell. But what else can be done? It's just to be in the place of prayer. So for that, you cut your husband, you talk about it initially. If it's not working, look for your man of God. You must have a church that you're part of. Let the man of God speak. If it's not working, somebody maybe that you know, as a mentor, that your husband would at least fear and have some level of regard for, talk. If that's not working, look for a counselor, a therapist. If you think that's not working, if you say, went ahead, married them, having done all, stand. Look for somewhere that is safe and secure for yourself and your children. And let's take it from there. And you know what has happened in the ship? Because I do host events. One of the things that I've realized, some of the people that I actually award that come in to share their true life stories are couples who were separated, divorced for years, but amazingly, God brought them back.
Wow.
I've
Wow.
had people divorced for 10 years come to share their story. The longest was 27 years.
Oh.
Divorced for 27 years. And you know, the amazing thing is that every year, I've hosted this in Canada, in Atlanta, in Nigeria, in the UK. Everywhere I hosted it, I keep asking the Holy Spirit, are you sure I'm going to get somebody that will come and share their story? These are dirty linens in public. Will they? And every year, I've had people come on the show, the event, to share their story of divorce and restoration. So,
Wow.
but you know what? The woman did not stop praying. No. Usually it falls on the woman. She didn't stop. Having done all, the Bible says, stand. And
Wow, interesting. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wow. So I hope that answers your question, Mr. Peter Egg. I'm sure you must have been asking on behalf of someone. And yeah, it's a very complex question with so many tentacles. You might say, how are you sure? Did you see the person yourself? Or did somebody tell you? Or was it a setup? Was it, there's so many questions around it. But as the coach Funmi Adeyi has said, we need to go step by step. The first thing is communication is key, and then it goes on to therapy, to meeting people. So thank you very much for giving us such examples. I'm so amazed at the ones that have been apart for 27 years and came back together.
yeah,
Wow, that is a
yeah.
wow. So never give up. There is always hope. Hope,
Mm.
hope, hope.
The sad
Let's keep
thing was that
hoping.
while they were sharing their stories, when they separated, the babies were, I mean, the children, two boys were babies, young in primary
Oh,
school.
wow.
So by the time he came back home, they were married with children. So while they were
Wow.
sharing their story, the guy could not actually look up to the audience. He was like this
Wow.
because he was sorry for what he did. But the wife was grateful that he came back. She
Hmm.
was grateful that she came back. And
Wow.
to
Wow.
her, that's God answering their prayers.
Wow. Wow. Never give up. Never give
Yeah.
up. Thank you.
Mm.
So finally, I will be asking, what is the next event of lasting love and how do people connect? So the next event, please, when is it?
Yes, thank you, Bumi. So the next, after the pandemic, this is the first event we're going to do after the pandemic, and it's going to be here in the UK by the grace of God, and it's going to be, yeah, Last and Love is going to be on the 6th of May, May the 6th precisely, and it's going to be on a Saturday. It actually falls on the day the king will be coronated. So coronation. So it's going to
Wow.
be a regal event. So we're going to be having a discussion on recognizing, or we're going to have a discussion on vows, how to actually understanding vows. That's the word I'm looking for. Understanding vows. And the abuse part of it will be identifying abuse. A lot of things going around. I heard a story recently about a couple just moved to the UK. The husband is not working. The wife works around the clock. And when she comes back from work, the husband is waiting for her to come and cook. But he's home with the kids. He's home with the kids, waiting for her. And if the wife starts shouting, you've been home, you're not cooking, you're not helping me, it was her crying. That,
Mm.
why am I in this country? This country, if I was in Nigeria, nobody would dare talk to me like that. Emotional abuse. Can you imagine? So how do we spot abuse, and how to the right channel? How do we signpost people to the right
Mm.
channel where they can receive help and therapy? So we're going to be having that. It's a gala night as well. So we expect people to be dressed up elegantly, in a very regal way. And it's not strictly couples, it's for mature people, only because we're going to be receiving enlightenment, empowerment, education, and it's not going to be for just the couples. We want people to come and gain insight, gain understanding, and to be educated. So it's going to be on Saturday, the 6th of May 2023, and we have the flyers there. So if anyone is interested, you can just reach out to me. Eventbrite, Lasting Love International on Eventbrite, and my Instagram page, Funmi Adeyi, or Facebook, Funmi Adeyi. You can reach out to me there, and I'll be able to give you more information.
Wow, thank you very much. That is so awesome to hear. So take note, the next event after COVID, which is a very big one, is going to come up on the 6th of May. So I hope you will be there. Let's learn together. So thank you very much, very much. It's such an awesome privilege to have you on the show. And thank you to those who have waited with us this long. Thank you very much. It was like, it's just as if we should just carry on talking and chatting and asking questions and discovering more. Thank you. Thank you. I've heard so much today that, wow, I'll just go and sit down somewhere and ruminate over it. Thank you. Any questions from anyone, please write in the chat. And you can still write after the live show has ended. You can still write your comments and let us know how this has blessed you. If you've got any thank yous to Funmi Adeyi for being here, please write it in the comments. Shower your love on her. Thank you very much for finding time to be here. Are there any last words you want to say before we call it a wrap?
Right. I just want to say, when it comes to marriage, um, for everybody or any individual looking into getting married, number one thing I always say to them is that don't be in a rush, don't be in a desperate situation. It doesn't help. Ask God for direction. Let God connect you to the right channel. Don't be desperate. When you're desperate, you hang out with the wrong set of people. But I believe very much that God has designed a man for a woman, and in God's own time their path will cross and they will meet together. But prior to that, live your life, be happy. There's something called being fulfilled as a single person. Be happy, enjoy yourself, go on holidays, meet up with friends, hang out. There are a lot of countries, the world to see that we've not even attempted, not to talk of gone through them. There are a lot of interesting things to enjoy while you're waiting. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're so desperate, you're not living your life because you're still waiting for a man, or you're not living your life because you're waiting for a woman. Don't do that. Enjoy yourself. Be fulfilled as a single person. When they ask you in future, how did you spend your single life? Let them know that you were fulfilled and satisfied as a single person. Say to them, no regret, no apologies. You enjoyed your single life. I think that is very, very key. And also in the place of prayer, ask God for directions. And when is you meet somebody, be convinced that is the right person. Don't just fall into it because you want to do all the beautiful things on the wedding day. You want to go on a honeymoon. You don't want to be left out because everybody is married. No, don't do that. Be led of God. Let God lead you. Let God orchestrate your path, and just know within yourself that you are happy. Thank you, Bumi.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So nice having you here. You've actually blown our minds away with so much, and we'll have to go back. So if you've missed, you've joined halfway or quarter way through, just please go back to the video and watch it again. And I'm sure you will gain a lot. And please share with someone who needs this. We all need to hear this every now and then. Thank you very much for keeping it real today. Thank you. I
Thank
can't thank
you.
you enough.
Thank you,
Thank
Bumi.
you.
Thank you, Bumi. Thank you for putting this together. And thank you for the big work you're doing in your own corner. This is you fulfilling purpose. You do not have to be in the center of the world before you fulfill purpose. This is you doing what God has called you to do, fulfilling purpose. God bless you, and your reward will be unbelievable. Thank
Amen.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for being here with us. And I'll speak to you later.
God
Cheerio.
bless you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye. So you've heard it all. You've heard it all from the Love Advocate. So let's keep our light shining. Let's, like she said, enjoy your singleness, enjoy your marriedness, if there's anything like that. Enjoy every step of the way you are, wherever you are, whatever you are now. Enjoy every moment, because it won't come back again. So enjoy it now while you still have it, and let us keep the love we share with our spouses a flame. Let's learn new things that can keep that love alive. Communication is key, is something I've heard today and I've heard over and over. So thank you for the reminder, Mrs. Adeyi. And I hope that we have all learned. Please remember to like, to share, to subscribe. And I will see you for the next video we're going to be showing. It's going to be talking about grief, and we have another guest I will be sharing the video with you as soon as it's all done. So thank you very much for being here with us. Have a lovely evening, have a lovely week, have a lovely month, have a lovely year, and I hope to see you again next time. So bye bye.